Hello, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a topic that affects so many of us, yet hardly ever gets the clarity it deserves. I want to start by telling you a little story about a woman named Jenny. Jenny is 49 years old, and for her whole life, she was a master multitasker. She took real pride in her powerful recall of names, places, and all those tiny details that usually escape the rest of us. She managed her life with the mastery of a professional juggler. But then, almost out of nowhere, it felt like her powers just deserted her. She suddenly felt like she was literally losing her mind.
It felt as if a heavy fog had just descended right onto her brain. She was struggling to remember dates and details that used to come so naturally. As you can see from her own words here, her thoughts just weren't translating to reality. It got to the point where Jenny had to start relying heavily on her iPhone just to remember basic, everyday tasks. And as you can probably imagine, this caused a sudden, terrifying drop in her confidence.
Okay, let's dive into this, because Jenny's fear is incredibly common. Like Jenny, when a lot of us experience these sudden memory slips, we immediately jump to the worst-case scenario and worry we're developing early-onset dementia. It's a very real, very paralyzing fear. So today, we're going to frame the focus of our journey around this exact question, separating the facts from the fear.
Section 1. What is brain fog?
First, let's just take a deep breath. We are going to define exactly what this frustrating experience actually is. By breaking it down, we can move away from panic and toward a much clearer understanding of what is happening inside your head. The absolutely crucial thing to know right off the bat is that brain fog isn't a disease itself. It's actually a medical term for a collection of symptoms where your mind feels cloudy or spaced out. It's a state of perceived cognitive dysfunction that makes ordinary, routine tasks feel incredibly taxing.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what it feels like. Imagine trying to watch a video on a really bad internet connection. You are willing and able to do the task, the video is right there, but your brain just won't load the information. You're left staring at a spinning wheel, waiting for your thoughts to catch up with your intentions.
This mental buffering shows up in a variety of ways in our daily lives. Just look at these common symptoms. It's that exact feeling of walking into the kitchen with a purpose, stopping in the doorway, and completely forgetting why you were even in there. It's struggling to find the right word in the middle of a conversation, or feeling mentally exhausted even if you haven't been doing any heavy mental lifting. If you felt this, your experience is completely valid, and you are far from alone.
Section 2. Where does it come from?
So, if it isn't a disease, what is causing this mental traffic jam? Let's investigate the biological and environmental culprits behind this buffering. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing exactly how specific areas of the brain struggle. Think of your prefrontal cortex as your brain's manager, handling focus and behavior. Then, think of the hippocampus as your brain's filing cabinet, storing and retrieving your memories. Under normal conditions, they work together in perfect harmony. But when stress, illness, or fatigue hits, that communication breaks down. The manager can't focus, and the filing cabinet gets jammed.
And physical illness is a massive driver of this. Millions of people experience brain fog because of underlying medical conditions. For instance, nearly 80% of patients with hypothyroidism, which is an underactive thyroid, report experiencing this brain fog frequently or even all the time.
On top of that, 75% of patients dealing with fibromyalgia report significant problems with concentration, memory, and multitasking. In the medical community, this is so common it's actually referred to as fibrofog. It just goes to show how deeply connected our physical health is to our mental clarity.
But beyond chronic conditions, everyday life factors play a huge role here too. Think about menopause, where fluctuating estrogen directly impacts your brain receptors. Or burnout, where a constant overload of the stress hormone cortisol disrupts your neurotransmitters. Even a COVID-19 infection can alter your gut microbiome and cause neuroinflammation. Add in sleep deprivation and chronic pain, and it's kind of like having 20 apps running in the background on your smartphone. Eventually, the battery just drains and the whole system slows down.
Section 3. Brain fog or dementia?
I want to pause here for a moment, because when you can't remember your own phone number, it is very easy to jump to the worst-case scenario. Let's address the anxiety many feel, like Jenny did, and look at the facts to de-escalate the fear of early-onset dementia. So the crucial point is this. Brain fog is a temporary cognitive overload. While it's incredibly frustrating, you still maintain your independence, and it usually improves over time or when the underlying trigger is addressed. Dementia, on the other hand, is a progressive condition that ultimately impacts your ability to live independently and can even alter your personality. Plus, younger onset dementia is quite uncommon. So if you're forgetting words, it's highly likely to be the temporary overload of fog, not dementia.
Section 4. Hacks for clearer thinking.
Now that we've cleared up the mystery and reduced some of that fear, it's time to shift to mastery. Let's move to
and see how this builds into actionable, science-backed strategies you can use to bypass the fog in your daily life. Let's start with the 2-minute rule. It's incredibly simple. If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. Think of it like unpacking the grocery bags immediately when you get home rather than leaving them sitting on the kitchen counter to deal with later. Clearing out that mental clutter prevents small tasks from piling up and overwhelming your already taxed brain.
Along with the 2-minute rule, here are some incredibly practical workarounds. When your memory is unreliable, the best thing you can do is just not rely on it. Outsource your brain's job. Write everything down on notepads or use voice memos. Use timers to break your work into manageable 25-minute chunks. Automate your bill payments. Stick to a routine so you don't have to suffer from decision fatigue. By outsourcing these tasks, you are literally saving your prefrontal cortex from exhaustion. Of course, we also have to treat the hardware, right? Not just the software. Taking care of your physical body directly reduces the inflammation and fatigue driving the fog. This means prioritizing quality sleep by limiting screen time before bed. Fuel up with brain-friendly foods, like those found in the Mediterranean diet. Stay hydrated, stand up to stretch, and don't be afraid to challenge your brain in low-stress ways. Even something like driving a new route to the grocery store can help create new neural pathways.
Section 5. Reclaiming your mental focus.
Managing the day-to-day is vital. But what about the big picture? If you are dealing with brain fog that is deeply rooted in severe burnout or chronic stress, true recovery requires structured intervention to restore your neurotransmitter balance. A long weekend on the couch simply isn't enough. You have to actively regulate your nervous system with gentle movement and restorative sleep. You might need psychological support, like cognitive behavioral therapy, to process emotions and manage stress. Finally, it requires gradual cognitive rehabilitation, pacing yourself as you gently re-engage with your daily demands. And as you embark on this recovery, whether it's from burnout, menopause, or just the heavy load of modern daily life, please keep this in mind. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Some days, the fog is going to be thicker than others, and that's okay. Give yourself grace on the harder days, practice self-compassion, and celebrate the small wins when you finally find your flow again.
I'll leave you with this to ponder. What small step will you take today to clear your mind? Maybe it's trying the 2-minute rule, or perhaps it's just committing to a better sleep routine tonight. Whatever it is, you've got this. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.